Okay, I'm going to show you how to do the patch and healing brush in Pixlr. So you'll need the pictures for patch and healing. And there's two images, one's a portrait and one's a buggy. And make sure you watch this video to the end of the buggy one because I'll show you a quick trick to actually make the patching a lot easier than trying to patch it all by hand. So you'll download this portrait image, and then let's open that one up in Pixlr. So open, I'm going to go to my downloads, and there it is, and hit open. We're getting rid of all the dust and scratches on this old photo. So you have a few different options to use. You have what's called the healing brush. I just have to scan through these. No, we don't liquefy. Okay, so what I'm going to have you do is make a copy of your background layer just by right-clicking on the background and then hit duplicate layer. So now we have two layers of the same thing, but that way we can use them together to try and get rid of all those dust and scratches. So the first area you can do is the tuxedo, and we can use what's called the magic wand, which you used in the potato head assignment, and you click here and it picks things that are a similar color. So it still missed some stuff here. That's what those little speckled dots are. So I'm going to click here to add to a selection, and if I kind of keep clicking through here, it will add those little speckles. Or I can change to my lasso, which is what I usually do. Make sure it's on add to a selection. And then I can actually just draw, I want that to be a part of my selection, I want this to be a part of my selection. And what I'm going to show you here is how to get rid of all the dust and scratches on the black background, or the black tux, without having to do a whole lot. Okay, so we have all those selected, and I showed this similar step in the Photoshop video. So now all we have to do is add a new layer, and we want to add a fill layer because we're filling in something. So let's see. There we go. So go to edit, fill, and we want it to be a color, and we want it to be black. Blending mode, we can leave that at none. Opacity is how see-through you want the black to be. We'll leave it there and hit apply. And now my tuxedo, I push Command D, and my tuxedo's been retouched. We can also use this layer with the healing brush and just clicking around and try and really just blur or blend all those scratches together. It is a lot of clicking. In Photoshop, you have a variety of tools you can use. So this isn't my favorite program for this assignment, but it's what we have to work with. Okay, and then when you get to the face is harder because there's more detail. So like that dot is not so bad, but right here, we want to make sure that we're preserving the skin and the face texture, so that, like right there, we have a dot, and I don't like that. So I'm going to make my brush smaller and come in here and click just on the dot, and that looks better. I just want you to try your best and do the best you can on this assignment. So you'll continue working and just trying to get rid of all the dust and all the scratches. We can do a filter, which you go up to filter at the top and then do smooth, and we could smooth out the picture a little bit. This is another option. I don't know how much smoothing it actually does. And then hit apply. Looks a little better. So you'll finish doing that one, save it, upload it to Canvas, and then I'm going to open up the buggy and show you how to do that assignment. So let's download it real quick. Let's see, where did it go? Maybe it's not done yet. Oh, download, there we go. Okay, so now we should be able to find the buggy. The biggest thing I see people do is not watch this instruction. And if you don't, I show you a quick trick. We can go to get rid of the crack down the middle because it's a picture torn in half and then scanned together. How to get rid of this without having to do a lot of clone stamping. We actually use our selection tool. So we are going to select this whole side of the picture and stay on this side of the crack. So I'll use my lasso, and I want to use the magnetic one because it hugs edges a little bit better. Then, get set up first. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top, and I make sure I'm adding to what I already have selected over here, and I'm going to go along here. And as I move along here, it should add to what I have selected. If you don't want to go all the way down, you can just make a circle and double click and it will close your selection. And then you can continue on down the page. I like to zoom in so that I can actually see really good what I'm doing. And remember, you're staying on the right side of the crack. We don't want the crack in our selection. We just want to select the picture. So I keep moving down. I'm going to circle back around on this one too and continue here. This lasso doesn't work quite as good as the one in Photoshop, but it's similar. And then we'll continue and keep adding to what we have selected. That way, I'm going to zoom in really close and just make sure I didn't miss any spots, which I can tell I already did. So we'll make sure we select this. And this time I'm going to select just the regular lasso. For small little selections, I like to use it. And then we'll just keep moving up the page. Make sure we add in any of the detail that we don't want to be taken out of our picture. And then up here, that's crack. There. There. This part right here is really important because there's so much detail. You don't want to try and clone stamp this whole thing. So you want to make sure you get all the detail you can. Because if you notice, there's part of her arm right here. And you don't want to have to try and recreate that part of the buggy or anything like that. Okay, so I think we're about there. So now what yeah, that's part of the crack. So now what I'm going to do is actually duplicate this layer by pushing, let's see. I'm going to copy and paste the selection. So in Photoshop, you can push Command J and it will just make a copy, but we'll go Edit and Cut, and then Edit, Paste. So that paste that part that we just selected and cut out, and now we can take it and basically match it up just like a puzzle. So I'm going to use my arrow keys and move the picture to the left. I'm just bumping my left arrow. And then the area I look at to make sure everything's lined up as best as possible is right here on the buggy. So let's go there. You'll notice there are still a few pieces that have to be fixed, but it is not nearly as bad as trying to clone stamp and recreate the whole thing. So now we have these two layers and let's merge them back together. So hold down Shift and click on, let's see, oh, merge visible is what we're going to put. And now they're back together as one layer. And then we can use our patch tool to fill in that crack. Maybe the patch isn't. The patch tool in this program is not my favorite. Let's try clone stamp. So just command click source. Select source. There we go. Guess they weren't merged together. Let's resize the brush a little bit. And I just keep selecting out to the side. This is similar to what you did in the clone stamp assignment to recreate a part of the picture that's not there anymore. So I'm going to stamp right here and fill in these trees. Anytime I have a structure like this, I can click right on it and then continue it up. We'll try and recreate her arm right there. This picture doesn't have tons of detail, so somewhat simple. Just make sure every time you're trying to cover up an area that you select that area. So right here we have the front of the buggy. I'm going to click right there so it continues there, and then use the same area to fill in there. Same thing down here. I'm going to continue that. And you just keep working your way down the picture until you've covered the entire crack. So hopefully you all watch this step, and usually I can tell when I'm grading them. Who did and who didn't. And it creates a lot more work for you if you don't. So now I can get going down here, and I just finished all the way down to the end. And if you want to get real picky, you can remove some of the other stuff going on in the picture, that, like these little scratches right here. Oops. That's what happens when you don't reselect. And that is what, oh, I missed some up here too. Your end result should look like on the buggy. Way easier than trying to clone stamp and restore the whole thing.